My name is Bill and I'm with the Institute of Internal Auditors, and I'm here today with Stacy and Brian to discuss third-party risk. As a Chief Audit Executive, have you seen or are already employing a number of innovations around third-party risk?
So I'll say from an audit standpoint, we're trying to become much more innovative of how we audit it. So we're doing several different things to do your traditional audit around the third-party management office, which is in the second line. And then we're doing horizontal audits involving all our component partner teams to make sure the lines of business that are doing what they're supposed to be doing. And then we're trying to use data analytics. So we do risk-based audit approach, so we want to touch those critical vendors and spend more time there, but we do want to make sure we get coverage across all our lines of businesses and for different services and products. So we make sure we use data analytics to get that kind of coverage.
Yeah, I think the approach that you see is that, a vendor risk management audit isn't one audit that you do and you're done. I think vendor risk management can be done through multiple approaches. As Stacy had indicated, whether it's through horizontal reviews, certainly leveraging data analytics. It's an area that we see much more so in this space, just given how much data there is, how much information there is. I think it's ripe for analytics. But you can look at it, at an oversight and governance perspective, as Stacy had indicated, or each of the individual components of the life cycle as standalone audits. These are typically pretty substantial pieces of work for most internal audit functions.
Do you feel there's a certain skill set that an internal auditor needs in order to be an effective third-party risk management function?
So I would say most internal audit functions are evolving to where we don't have the normal check-the-box auditors anymore. We want people to think about what's the risk, what could go wrong, what's the spirit of the regulation that we're trying to implement. So I don't think there's a special skill set outside of making sure that the auditor is seasoned enough to make sure that they can look beyond what's just required in the reg or the traditional audit procedures. They can think about what is the spirit of the reg that's out there and how should the organization be implementing that.
Yeah, I mean, the skill set, I think, is right in the wheelhouse for internal auditors. I mean, it's asking smart questions, it's providing effective challenge, it's understanding business processes, it's looking at what the key risks are. So I think, when you look at the expectations and the guidance that's come out from a regulatory perspective, it gives somewhat of a roadmap for internal audit, although we don't want internal audit to just be, checking compliance with the regulation. They've got to right size it to their organization and make sure that they're looking at the risks that matter to their specific entities.
Given the cross-organizational nature of third-party risk, do you feel any one function owns third-party risk?
No. So depending on where that vendor sits and whether the engagements with that vendor sits, the executive, again, at least within my organization, the executive is accountable for that relationship. And again, the multiple or hundreds of engagements that support that vendor are also owned by each one of the executive's direct reports. So it's not sitting in one area. And again, in our second line of defense, where you usually traditionally see the third-party risk management office, where again, they challenge and make sure the framework's being coordinated. Again, they are just the tool that sets up everything for the first line of defense.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's probably one of the harder areas to define who owns it. There's different roles and responsibilities for the different departments within any given organization, but I think because of how many vendors you're dealing with and the ownership of the relationship and even the understanding of the risk associated with that really sits with the business that's engaging that third party. And so as third-party risk management or the second line function basically just oversees all that to ensure that it's all working and audit as the first line is auditing it. But it's probably one of your most diverse processes in any organization.
So given that diversity, as a Chief Audit Executive, do you view this as an opportunity for internal audit to really express its value and how it can really contribute to the organization?
Sure. So I'll say we were an organization that we had a good process. We wanted to make it better. So we went back to the drawing board. We're changing tools that monitors third-party risk for us. So we are involved in several places just through continuous monitoring. As they put templates together to monitor inherent risk, we're weighing in on those templates. As vendors go through the contract phase, we're weighing in on the results of those things. Again, not deciding, but weighing in and appropriately challenging. Sure. So I definitely think this is an area where we can do, again, just not look to make sure somebody did what they were supposed to, which is the traditional audit, right? But be involved in the front end as things are being designed as well.
Yeah, this is definitely an area I think where internal audit can add value to their organizations. Again, just given, like you had said, how diverse it is and how much there is, no one person's going to be able to cover everything. So I think you need to have a cohesive team of first, second, and third working together. But I think the value that audit can provide to an activity such as third-party risk management is great.
Thank you both for your time today and for your great insights on third-party risk.
Thank you.
Thank you.